Hello, everybody, and welcome. I could not be more excited to see so many of you already in there. Okay, if anyone's in the chat watching, please make sure to let me know because I can finally see all of that in front of me. Tell me where you are joining from because every single time I love seeing people join from all over the world. Today, I am personally hyped because, as all of you know, I am not a very, very good designer. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth or Liz, whatever is more comfortable for you. And today, I am learning a little bit more about how to actually design stuff in a way that's going to be both pretty cool and advanced and accessible. That kind of combination of factors is very, very hard to come by, which is why I am joined by Drew, who is a production manager at Kittl. Hi, Drew.
Hey there, how we doing?
We are doing very well. I'm seeing so many people. So there's someone from Canada, Cyprus, Atlanta, Munich. Oh, someone from Minnesota as well. So everyone's all over the place joining us here. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. And what we're going to be covering today is a fancy tool called Kittl Flows. Can you tell us a little bit more about the tool before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of what we're doing here?
100%. Yeah, so Kittl Flows has integrated AI into the design workflow, hence why we call it Flow, where you can essentially add what we are calling smart boards. Kittl Flows is like the overarching kind of umbrella term for what the flow that we're talking about. The smart board does all the heavy lifting, which is cool. So you can add these smart boards. It's an art board that's smart or connected to AI and iterate, change, develop, craft based on what you've connected to in your artboard. So if you had a logo or if you had an image or if you had an icon, you could add a smart board, create a variation, create an edit, change colors, do all of these things that maybe you don't necessarily have the hands-on design skills to do or the experience to do, but you know what's in your head and you can craft it, you can prompt it, and the smart board, to the best of its ability, is going to do that heavy lifting. And you can choose the different models like Seed Dream or Nana Banana, ChatGPT, all that kind of stuff from the smart board. So that's kind of a 30,000-foot view of Kittl Flows.
And what is, to me, the most amazing thing about it is that it relieves this frustration of putting, well, the metaphorical pen to paper, because there's this part of design like skills and knowing exactly which tools to use and how to use them. But also, at least for me, and I know this is the case for many people, is when you have an idea, it's very hard to give it shape. It's sometimes easier to just like kind of describe it and rather than like turn it into a proper like fleshed out concept. And this makes it so much easier. So to show how everything works, we kind of thought about it, right? And then I was like, okay, we need a proper example. And the example is that I have come up with a fictional podcast. Let's say I've decided to do a print-on-demand related podcast, which in this case is going to be called Print Talks. And I've put together a few kind of colors and kind of like a rendition of a logo and stuff. Kind of all of the brand things that, you know, if you were starting your own store or starting your own brand, you would kind of decide on. You have a vibe in your head, you know kind of where you're going, but you know that you need actual designs, you need some additional like branding materials, you need some marketing images. You need to flesh this out more, but your skills kind of stopped a little bit at what you've already got. And I have the luxury of having Drew on my side who I could send it to and be like, help, fix this.
No, we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. And Print Talks, I mean, it definitely is fitting, right? Like print on demand, printing, podcast, talking. It's pretty clever.
Yeah. So I've set over kind of a laundry list of things, of requests, which are, some of it is more digital stuff, like, I want kind of like a a banner or some images and stuff. But then also I would like some merch designs and I would like some merch mockups. So we're going to cover these kinds of different areas of stuff today. So maybe let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So you sent over some stuff, which I have already imported, just drag and drop into Kittl pretty easily. You can pretty much drag and drop any file from your downloads folder, or you can come over here in the left side. You'll see this little uploads button over on the left side in Kittl if you've never tried it. And what I want to kind of do first is talk through flows and show you maybe a little bit more behind the curtain of how you can go about using flows mixed with some stuff that's already in Kittl to create these things like you're saying, like brand assets or a social post or merch design. We have tons of videos already on the YouTube about using Kittl Flows to create really cool merchandise and mockups and things like that. So here's that original logo you were talking about, Print Talks with the little Your E-commerce experience sub tagline, and then this was one that you sent over as kind of like the focal icon, right? The microphone. This might work really nice for the profile image of your Instagram or your YouTube or a podcast cover or something like that. And then we have another element like this coin number. What would you call it? I guess it's just a coin. Yeah, coin icon with money symbol in it. And then this is that wish list you sent over. So there's some different kinds of things. I went ahead and grabbed the dimensions of all of those. And so, we got some things like our color scheme. And I want to go through and show you how we can build some stuff out using flows, as well as doing some live examples. And then we'll get into building some of those merch and stuff. And if there are any questions, Liz, you can obviously interject with a question. If you're in the chat, you have a question about what about this? How do I do this? Please comment it, because that's going to make this experience better, as if you need to know how to do something. But just at the base value, if you select any kind of artboard, there's a little artboard here, which like if I drag out an artboard, I can drag any image over to my artboard. And if I want to create a smartboard, I can do it a multiplicity of ways. I can click smartboard up here in this little contextual bar. I can click this little plus symbol, which you can see if I click plus, it's added a smartboard here. Or if I go over here to the right side, you see there's add smartboard here. So there's tons of ways to create what is called a smartboard. And if I select that smartboard over here in the right side panel, you are going to see your prompt area, and you're also going to see the model selection area. Right now we have these 4 models. We have more models integrated with Kittl that if you want to generate imagery, that's fine. These are the models that work best with Kittl Flows. And you can click, Nana Banana, for example, is really quick. It's 15 seconds. It does a stellar job editing things. But at its base value, that's how you add a smartboard. And what I want to demonstrate for you is how I started to iterate and ideate on how we could maybe change this logo to look a little bit more professional, how we can start adapting it into different environments and sizes and formats and things like that. So what I wanted to do first was just create a smartboard, and then over here I used ChatGPT, and I kind of just started prompting what I had in my head. Like at first looking at this, I was like, okay, maybe let's get rid of the coins for the moment. Let's drop the subtext to the bottom. Let's make print the same width as talks. And I just prompted that. Okay, remove the money coin, make the print word the same length to match talks, move the Your E-commerce experience text to below, make it all caps. And I mean, it did a pretty good job. I mean,
Right.
it's pretty nice. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but sometimes just basic text, white and black, is a great way to start. And I also decided to do like some square formats of just like, no icons, no subtext, no nothing. What would it look like to just have print talks vertical stacked like that? Because it already could be a cool podcast cover or anything like that. So I just said, take the print talks text and stack them on top of each other so that they are exact same width, ignore the icons and subtext. And I think what you might be seeing here is maybe not necessarily anything flashy quite yet, but in my opinion, for the AI to be able to interpret that direction as I'm like kind of being the creative director and do it and actually format it quite nice is really powerful to me, because maybe I don't know exactly how to use all of the text settings in Kittl yet, but I definitely know how to type what I'm trying to imagine. And then what's really
But
cool about
you know,
smartboards,
even
oh, go
if
ahead.
you do know how to use all of them, it takes time to create like 6 different artboards with like tiny little variations and go
Mm,
through all of it and be like, okay, what would that look like? But what would
mm.
that look like? And it's just like a fast, easy way to be like, okay, what if I tried to make them both like the same width, like both print and talks? What would that look like? It takes you 2 seconds and you're done and you're there and it's very
Right.
visible.
Exactly, and it's also a really easy way to test multiple. You know, I
Hmm.
could have created 17 smart boards, gave it the same prompt, and generated them, and it might come out with a few little different tweaks and things like that. And what's really cool about smart boards is that they can keep attaching to each other. So you see here, I added a smart board, and then I just asked it to make a more kind of techie, blocky style. And sometimes you don't know what it's going to pop out with, but it's kind of cool. Like I didn't really use the word stencil, but now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, oh, that could be a cool direction. Probably not for this. This is a little too, yeah, stencily, I think, for the style that we need. But it's a really cool way to start testing different text styles. Smartboards is extremely powerful at text editing. Basically, is changing the style, adding effects, adding drop shadow. We have tons of templates for that show you how to do that. Before I go on to kind of show you what I did with the logos, because this is kind of our starting point, because I really like this idea of having it stacked like this. One way that I use Kittl Flows every single day is with this icon that you gave me, this microphone. There may be instances where you need other iconography that's in that same exact style. And maybe you don't exactly remember where you got this microphone. Maybe the microphone was the only icon that you either generated or paid for, or you got it from somewhere, or you drew it, whatever it is. But you may come into situations where you need more icons for special episodes that you do, or merch or things like that. And one thing that smartboards can help you do is generate packs of iconography in the same style. So you see here, I added a bunch of smart boards. And if we take a look at the prompt here, it's just create a flat laptop icon in the same style. And I think it looks pretty good. In my opinion. And then I did the same thing, make a t-shirt icon in the same style as the microphone. And then if I go down here, I love this one. This is probably my favorite one, is make a baseball cap icon in the same illustration style. And we could keep going and generating a ton of other icons. And before you know it, you'll have 10, 15, 20 in the same style that works seamlessly with your brand, because it's using that original artboard, it's using that original design to tell the AI, hey, when you make something, make sure it looks and is styled like this. And I mean, these are pretty much all the first attempts. I maybe have generated the laptop 2 or 3 times because it wanted to kind of catty corner it. I don't know why, but eventually I added the word flat, and some reason that worked best. Yeah, I guess you could have used like front view or front only view. But these are pretty much this is the first generation it popped out. That was Nana Banana, 15 seconds. This was the first one, baseball cap, 15 seconds. And yeah, I mean, you can use these in a different way as well. You don't have to use them just as like blue on a, black background, because you can pretty much convert anything to an image and start using it immediately. So if I were to convert this to an image, now it is its standalone piece. It's not part of the smartboard. And then if we look up here in this, again, this contextual taskbar, you see remove background, and you also see it over here on the right side. And if I click that remove background in just a few seconds, it's now going to take away that black border that's surrounding the t-shirt and leave me with a clean icon that I now can use on anything. And if I wanted to take that a step further, and maybe I'm doing a special holiday themed podcast where I need everything to be red, I can vectorize this. I'm just going to leave it as one color for now. And in another couple of seconds, it is going to give me a fully editable vector design where I can scale it up or down and it won't lose any quality. And then now over here in the illustration colors, I can make it that bright holiday red if I need it to. And so that is another really powerful way that you're using smartboards with these other tools that are already in Kittl to, yeah, basically help you go farther faster, really. I mean, you don't have to have drawn that with the pen tool, which you can, by the way. There's a pen tool down here. You can start creating all different kinds of paths. But I mean, I just did that in 15 seconds pretty much. And I guess it took 5 seconds to make it a vector element. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the vectorizing feature to me is just so mind-blowing, because that, I think, is the thing that I always struggle with the most, and part of the reason why, especially when working on some kind of designs, I would often just like avoid using AI. Like AI was always cool for like, I guess, like more language-based things, but then in designs, I was like, oh, if I want to change something afterwards, I can't, because it's just like locked into place. It's like a JPEG and that's it. But the fact that you can vectorize something after it's generated, well, completely
Yeah.
groundbreaking to me.
Yeah. And, I can't make any promises on dates, but it is something that we are working really hard to integrate into Flows, is being able to generate you a vector already. Basically, it could have gone through those steps in less time, because you could say in the smartboard, hey, make this a vector, and it would do it. So that's something we're working on. I don't exactly have any dates for that. But let's talk a little bit more about some other use cases. If I come over here just briefly, you also gave me, which I think is really important for anybody that's, this is really kind of about a podcast branding, but I want people to think about the use cases that could transfer to anything else. So maybe it's an Etsy shop, maybe it's a Shopify store you have, maybe it's a YouTube channel, Discord, whatever. You gave me this kind of little like, hey, this is the studio style I'm going for with this podcast. And another really cool thing about Flows and smartboards is that it can understand a reference photo. So if I look at this smartboard, again, I just added a smartboard with the plus here, and take a look at the prompt. It's very tame. It's very basic. Create another studio image based on the images in the graphic. Use similar elements, microphones, lighting, realistic room elements. And I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, we can already use this as an image. We could put our logo on it, and we have a social post like in seconds, pretty much. Because maybe this isn't exactly how my studio looks yet, but maybe that's the vibe that I'm going for, so that when I do create my studio, I know what kind of shelves to buy, I know what kind of table to buy. I actually used Kittl Flows to figure out what color cabinets I wanted in my house. Interestingly, I had a photo of my cabinets, and I was deliberating between like a dark green, a dark gray, and a black, and just black looked the best. And I was able to do that by just creating smartboards and say, hey, make the cabinets red, make the cabinets gray, whatever. And it helped me decide on black, which is pretty nice. But once again, you can add smartboards to each other. And if you look here, this obviously isn't you, Liz, but maybe it's a guess.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Maybe it is. Create an image in the same style. So this kind of language is important for people that are going to go and start tweaking and playing and creating your own iterations. We use words like in the same style. I mean, it's going to do it already. You can see this little reference photo up here, but I said use the same style of someone sitting in a chair podcasting in the studio. And this is really cool too, because now we can take this, convert it to an image, and maybe later we can add a little like new guest, and have the logo in the middle, and then like dropping on Tuesday. And now we have a cool image that is in the same style, has that same little waveform in the background. And yeah, it's super easy way to create imagery. AI has already been pretty strong with imagery, and now integrated into Kittl Flows, it's even faster and better, because again, it can understand your reference photo. I mean, you would have expected early AI, would keep this kind of gray border, and then who knows what kind of text would show up. But smartboards, that's something we accounted for, so it knows not to use all this other random stuff and just kind of use the reference material, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I also, I saw someone in the chat earlier talking about, how good Nano Banana is at consistency and maintaining consistency across it. And I think that, little waveform that you had across the different images is a perfect example of that, because the fact that it matched the source image so well, so that even the neon sign in the background didn't warp and change and turn into something else. That to me is such a step up from what I would expect from AI, and it's a
Right.
great example of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like again, here's a little bit of a different one. I like testing it multiple times, so I just did that in a couple seconds. I gave it the same prompt, create an image of someone, showing the back of a person sitting in a chair, and hey, this is a cool kind of interesting, like this is an interesting format, and it kept the iPad, kept the coffee cup, kept the other microphone, and it just added the person sitting in that chair, which is pretty cool. So like I don't know who this person is, but maybe you don't know exactly who your next guest is, but you're going to have a next guest. I don't know what to you could insert anything, replace the chair with a Christmas tree. I don't know, whatever you want to do. You could do something really cool with Flows.
Yeah, you should tell it to generate a ginger girl sitting in there, and then it's going to be more accurate for the podcast.
Yeah, let's see. Showing the back of a woman with ginger. I guess is your hair color actually red?
It's like I don't know. You guys tell me, but like a light ginger. I don't know.
Light ginger, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what it comes up with. Should be pretty. I mean, it's going to be the back of it, but that.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
back
say
of longer hair might be hard.
Oh shoot,
Oh
that's
wait,
a little
that's kind
longer
of
for you.
good.
That's
No,
pretty nice, actually.
Yeah. It works.
Yours is a little lighter, but it's pretty nice. The one thing that I have found really interesting is, and I've been using it for. I mean, I don't want to like reveal all the secrets, and I'm just kidding. I don't care. I've been using it for my YouTube thumbnails. So, like, if we have this guy, for example, I'll show you guys. This has, I know, nothing to do with what we plan to show, but I think it's really cool. So, if I have this very cool model with this very sporty orange beanie, I've been doing things like change the facial expression to be smiling toward the camera. I have been using this for my thumbnails for YouTube, where I've already taken the photo shoot of me, and maybe I'm like holding my chin and like thinking and looking like upset. And then, like, as you can see right here, I've been using it to change the facial expression. How wild is that?
I'm trying to like find a flaw in that, like an uncanny valley type of thing, but I can't. It just looks
It's crazy.
right. Yeah.
It's crazy. And like it has, not that I wouldn't happily set up the camera again and then take another 20 photos of myself, but just imagine this is a picture of me like doing a thumbs up, and then this one is a picture of me doing a thumbs down and like a frowny face, and it does it in 8 seconds. That's just one way that Flows has really helped me out. But you could do that with anything. You could do it with a social post that says Black Friday sale, and then add a smartboard and say change Black Friday sale to New Year's sale. You know what I mean? It'll just save you a bunch of time. But yeah, let's get into like kind of how I took some of these text styles and started making some variants that I think look a little bit more integrating with the icon and the style. So we have this artboard here with the Print Talks e-commerce subtag, and you could of course make this a vector element. All I did was just convert this to an image. I dropped that on another artboard, and you could of course create that as a vector. You could remove the background, which is what I did here. So you see I've removed the background, and all I did was start creating different duplicates, different versions of this. And I thought, it'd be kind of cool if we put the microphone in the middle of the P, R, and the NT to replace that I. I felt like the microphone, maybe it's a little cliche, but it's just the right thickness-ish, and it's the right height-ish that it can work, so, and it incorporates the symbol into it, and yeah, that's what we ended up with. And from there, it's from here where maybe this is the time to start using other features and tools in Kittl, where you can actually change out and look at a couple of different styles. So, and this is just my way of doing it. So, again, just kind of showing behind the curtain of how I would think a little bit more designy about it. You could keep on adding flows and say, hey, change the font style. Let's see what happens. Change the font style to be really thin. Keep everything else the same. May not come up with exactly what you want because I think thicker works. But what I started doing was going through, and over here on the right side, I started checking out different thick fonts. And what I started typing was like I typed like bold. And so if I type in bold here, you can see a whole bunch of different fonts. And then over on the left side, as I scroll, you can see all of that changing, which looks really wonky right now. But, it's a really cool way to check out what style you might like. So this didn't really, again, do exactly what I wanted it to do because I think, as I said, keep everything else the same. But like I would probably stop right here and start crafting it as a vector style. So all of our fonts, all of our stuff is vector, and I think that's an easier way to show stuff. But I just easily would duplicate this a couple of times, and from there we can start using different font styles. And so as you can see here, I chose a different couple of kinds. So if I select all these pieces of text, which if anyone needs to be able to do that, I would just select this one. I can hold the shift key, and then I can click this text, and then over here you can see accelerator is already chosen. But if I go and hover over the next one, you can preview all of your changes at the same time. And this is kind of how I decided on a couple of these other ones. I went up here, typed in bold, and then I just kind of went down the list and started to think like, oh, okay, this one could be cool. Maybe it's a little too serify. This could be cool. Maybe it's not quite techie enough. And this is just, again, this is a way. It's not the way. Oh, that one looks pretty nice. It would take some adjusting. So maybe we like that one, and then we come in here and we just start. We start tidying things up and move it over and start iterating. And before you know it, you have a bunch of different styles that you might really, really like, all because we asked the AI to like stack the text. You know what I mean? And boom, that took like another couple seconds, and we have another running logo option in play here. But I maybe have a logo I want to upload, which I'm going to show you how to do that as well, because I think your original one you sent me, the original logo you sent me, was already with a font file.
Yeah, and in the chat, I remember seeing someone kind of mention this, that it can be a little bit annoying that the font changes once you try to adjust it. So let's say like in the original logo, there was a very specific font. And then once you ask AI to be like, hey, let's shift this stuff around, it can change the font slightly. It can often like simplify it. And this is a great moment to bring that up, I feel like. Because, because you can get around that and you can use the font that you had in mind originally.
100%. Yeah. So, and that's what I would do here. So I'm just going to make this dark. You could do anything. I mean, you could create new text with the text tool. This doesn't really matter. The process for this is the same. But if you wanted to upload your own font, which you have already sent me, to do that, we are going to open up the typeface setting, and we're going to see this little button down here. It says upload font. And this can upload TTF or OTF fonts, very much like any other program, or I'm pretty sure you can do that in Microsoft Word too. And it tells you that we recommend uploading all of the styles in a font family at once, because you can't, at least at the moment, you can't like go back to a family and then add more styles to it. You'd have to upload the font again. So if we go to choose fonts, which I'm just going to open up and select all of these, because I believe it's called Cubeo or Cubao. I don't know how you would say it, but we've got these three styles right here, and I'm going to click open. And then now you can see that there's a few. Kittl's always going to try to take the first one and call it regular. Logically, I guess I could have reordered these, but I'm going to have this one regular and then this one wide. You can go here and call this anything you want. You could call this silly or whatever you want, which sometimes I have fun doing. But yeah, so this looks pretty good. That's what it's going to be called. And we're going to go ahead and upload to the library. If you had more styles, like for example, if you were like, wait, I know I have 7 styles, I need to go find the rest of them, you can just add more styles to this font, which is very helpful. And then we're going to upload that to the library. Give that some time to think. And then to find it, we are going to go to our uploads, and you can see it right there. So now it's in your uploads. You can see a few others that I've uploaded here. So boom, now we have that. And if we wanted to, we could just duplicate it, change this one to say print. And so now you're back to your kind of original style you had picked out. And you can start formatting this. Maybe we would get rid of this. And then I'm going to go over here into our letter spacing. And we're going to increase this. Actually, I think it's easier if I do PR. This is how I would do it. I don't want to. I was thinking about that, and I was like, wait, no, I don't want to space that out. And then this would be NT. And then we can, again, if you ever need to duplicate anything, the way I do it is I hold the Alt or the Option key, click, and drag. You can certainly do it by going up here and just duplicate. Like, there you go. Now you have a duplicate. But I just find it so much faster to like hit the Alt or the Option key. Dang, that's almost the exact size. I think it is. Wow. Okay. Very nice. Let's grab all these. I'm going to align these together. Nope, that's not good. Put that down here. And yeah, now we need to do a little bit of tweaking on the size. Okay, cool. I think that feels about right. Okay, now we have an option in the original logo style, which is more reminiscent of this guy over here, right? So all I did was just take that concept, that idea that the smartboard came up with, and use it with your own font that you upload easily like that to Kittl. And then I can just grab this subtext, bring this over here, make this dark. Yeah, now we have another option for the running. Yeah, before I move on, because I know that's a lot, and I may have just done a bunch of stuff that people don't understand. Are there any questions that we want to go over before we like make some merch and stuff?
Yeah, so let me see. There were a couple of things in here that like I've kind of been sort of bringing up throughout. But one that is general and that's maybe also helpful, especially for a more beginner audience. What are some common hangups that other new users to Kittl often have if they were familiar with other platforms, like Canva, Lightroom, and stuff? They're trying to shorten their learning curve. This question is from Dog-Centric Supply, and I think it's like the perfect way to approach this. Like, I already have something that I've been using before. How do I is there anything that could be a roadblock that I should like look out for?
Yeah, I would say that with Kittl, you're going to have a bit more flexibility with, for example, I saw I can like take this and like drag it off the artboard. That's something that, at least to my knowledge, you can't do in Canva, but you can in like Illustrator or Figma or something like that. So you're going to have a little bit more flexibility with kind of ideating off screen, as it were, or like off your artboard. I would say in terms of editability and addition wise, you're gonna feel probably pretty at home or pretty safe with our templates, elements, images, panels, because they are very similar to an editor likened to a Canva or something like that, where if I wanted to type in, dog and look at all these dog illustrations, this one's kind of cool. I can click it and add it to the screen. I mean, there's some pretty cool like elements and features that we've done to speed up this process. For example, if I wanted to take this element and replace it with this dog, there's this replace feature here where I can click replace and it replaces that with the dog, which is one of my all-time favorite features. Probably doesn't work there because the dog's not vertical. Maybe this one would work better. Yeah, so it's something like that if you had a podcast about dogs. But like this is a format probably you're familiar with, and or templates, which could be a cool time to bring up the templates, because we were talking about different elements and things that we would need. Like, if we were going to talk about a podcast, and I type in a podcast, you're going to see all these cool cover art and templates that you can click and add at any point. And if you're already familiar with doing something like editing a editing a template, that is something that we have built into Kittl with hundreds of thousands of world-class templates from our designers all around the world that we specifically pick to make these amazing templates. We even have like full on podcast, like what would you call this? A pack, like a whole asset pack. You can see there's like story posts and, horizontal Facebook style and banner for like your website. And like we have all of this. Let me just click this. I'm just going to add it and see what happens. But yeah, so we have templates like this. Let me click this out of the way. So yeah, this is super cool, right? Like you already have this all. Maybe you'd want to like replace this with a different image or a different person. And, we have other features that are likened to other tools like color palettes where we can change the color palette in seconds. Maybe you like this one better. Yeah, so I would say that it's kind of a difficult question to answer. We also have a master class in Kittl that I did that's like 2.5 hours long where I go through the absolute basics of Kittl, adding a project, drawing a artboard, adding text, all that stuff.
I
But
remember
it kind of
watching that
depends.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're trying to do and how fast you're trying to do it. Like I've always described Kittl as a tool that grows with you, because if it's something where you just need a template, we probably have the template it ready for you to edit. Like if it's a social post or a YouTube banner or a thumbnail, we probably have a template that you can go in there and edit. But if you want to start crafting stuff from scratch, you can do that in Kittl too. If you want to start drawing points and drawing your own shapes or like tracing your lettering and like doing some crazy stuff, we can do that too. Like it's really just, it goes as far as you want to go. And so it's kind of a difficult question to answer, but yeah, I would say the hang up might be like, it's a little bit more advanced in that you can actually see layers here in your left side. So this is going to be likened to like a Figma where you can really go in and isolate different layers, turn them on, turn them off, which would probably be different than an experience like a Adobe Express or a Canva or something like that.
But
Hopefully I answered the question
fair,
okay.
yeah, I think you did. But to be fair, seeing all of the layers and actually being able to select them individually and being able to edit them is such a step up in quality of life. Because if at some point you end up with like several different overlays, like maybe there's a slight gradient in between layers so that they pop more and stuff like that. If you're like, let's say you're using something like a Canva, it hurts to be able to like get to that specific layer and actually like just slightly move it over to the left.
Okay.
It's genuinely like way more difficult than it needs to be because it's not really meant for that. Like I use Figma very often, and then for like digital stuff specifically, and then going into that kind of UI and not being able to do that is super hard. So I think this is great. And speaking of templates, actually, because this is, I think, a very related question, does Kittl Flows have ready-made templates optimized specifically for Printful products? Which is a helpful question.
Interesting.
Like, yeah,
So
the
if I type in
sizes and resolutions.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I type in flows, we're still cataloging some of these in here. You can see, like, for example, here's we definitely have some that are ready for merch, and there are actually some that use the correct mockups actually that are in Printful that we have like coincided. I wish I had one. I wish I knew the name of one that was ready to pull up. I might be able to find it and we could link it after the fact. We definitely have some that are ready for merch that are, okay, here's one. This is Print on Demand. Let's click it and see what happens. That's the fun thing about this is like, I mean, we're adding
So many.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So okay. So also all of the flows will come with this little getting started guide, which is cool. And so yeah. So this is like showing examples of taking a design and turning it into something, which is helpful because you can always see the prompt right here, which is really, really helpful. So this is like super robust. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously a square. So I think the question was if the sizing is right. When you add a new project, it will ask you what size you want the artboard to be, and there are a ton of presets for like print on demand products. So there's like, the 54 by 400, or sorry, 5400 by 4500. There's every amalgamation of stuff that you can set your artboard to that would be the correct size. So if that's the question, I'm not sure if all of the flows have that. I would have to go check because we have so many, but there are some I know that are ready for print products that are in Printful specifically.
Yeah, and as an aside, I guess like it's always helpful to go and do that manually and look at the actual print area size, because those change over time, even for products that you've like used a bunch before. They don't like change a lot, but sometimes that happens. Or if you have like 6 different t-shirts, they are not necessarily all going to have the same print area. Or for, I don't know, like hats for embroidery or something, you're not always going to have the exact same print area size. So I would always advise to go and actually input that manually into like what the size of your artboard or your canvas is going to be.
Yeah, 100%. That is a good point. I always do that. I always come back. I mean, it's really easy to do. Like, if you needed this one to be, if we needed this, let's just get rid of the background on this, and we needed it to be that specific size, I would have it ready like this. I would come over here and, you can just create this at whatever you want. So this would be like 5,400, I think. No, this would be 4,500. This would be 5,400, and we already know that this is going to be 300 DPI ready to go. And we probably don't need this in a horizontal because it's not a horizontal design, so we could probably get away with it just being a square and sizing it up to be whatever it is. But that's a good point. I would definitely do it the way that you just said it. But speaking of designs, merch, things like that, another really, really cool feature that we have just recently released and also works with smartboards is mockups are now on the canvas. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to go ahead and draw an artboard around this so that maybe we like this one the best. And we're just going to center this around right here. So if I click this little button called mockup, it is going to add a mockup next to it that is right here on the canvas. So it is now no longer in some other like area that it took you to a different editor. And so now this is in, it's right here on the canvas, and I can change it. I can click anything I want. And I can add multiple if I wanted to. So if I click another, nope, not smartboard. I do that all the time. I click this, doing a mockup, but I'm doing a smartboard. So if I click mockup again, it is going to default back to that t-shirt. But like maybe I want to see it on, let's type in hat. And yeah, maybe we like this one. It's pretty cool. We put it right there. Sure. And so now you can really build out and see what your merch is going to look like prior to having it. And if I go and start making adjustments like to the artboard color, you can see that it changes over in the right side in live time. How cool is that? So maybe we want it to be, I don't know, this. I don't know why. And then we want to make our text. We want to make it white. Grab this one, make it white. So now it's a lot easier to see, and maybe we wanted to go back and use that kind of charcoal color. Boom. Now we have, I mean, how smooth and cool is that? That's just cool.
And there's so many use cases for this that immediately come to mind. I mean, like obviously creating promo images for stuff, right? But also if you are just creating a design and thinking about like, oh, what would it look like? The way that I would do it, like just normally, regularly, is I would create a design, download it, upload it to like Printful's Design Maker, select the product color that I want, and then look at it and be like, okay, maybe this is like the contrast isn't great, or like whatever, or the design is a little bit too wide and stuff. It's like several tabs of doing stuff versus 100%. In this case, you can go in there and you can be like, okay, I know that I have 2 hoodies that one of them, or let's say I have a hat and a hoodie in mind, and the hoodie's color is this exact pink. You can go in there into that connected artboard. You can change the background color. It's going to appear on that hoodie. It might not be the exact same hoodie model, but you can see the actual like color and the way that kind of looks on a product, which is so much faster.
Yeah, and I'm anticipating the potential next question, which would be, do you have actual legitimate products in the mockups that you would have in Printful? And the answer to that is yes. For example, you can see I've typed in comfort colors over here, and we actually did our own mega mockup photo shoot where the team and I ordered like all the products we could get our hands on. And if you go and hover over it, you can see right here it says apparel flat lay comfort color 1717. So you can know exactly the t-shirt that this is. So when I click it, this is going to be the t-shirt that if someone purchased it, this is going to be at least what it should look like laying on the ground. Or if I hover over this one, also comfort color 1717, where this should be the t-shirt that, you know, is form fitting to a person that's about this height. That's what they should order. So you don't have to fear about accidentally showing someone the wrong mock-up, because yeah, these look really cool, but maybe they're not products that actually exist. But you can always go in here. For example, if I type in Gildan, all of our Gildan should show up. So if I hover over it, that's the polo. This is the Gildan 18,000. Yeah, sure. Gildan 18,000. And yeah, so you can hover over and check out the ones. Oh, this is a cool one. He's wearing sunglasses. I don't even remember this one.
He looks kind of like Bad Bunny. I love that.
Pretty epic. And what I really like about this is like, about using it with smartboards is I'm going to connect smartboard here. Maybe we didn't have this one as a flat lay for some reason. I don't know. Maybe we forgot it. Maybe we missed it, whatever. Well, because Nana Banana and smartboards is so cool, we can say create a mock-up of this sweater as a flat lay on a concrete floor background as a, let's say, top down shot. Try to give it as much context as possible. And let's see what happens. So it should extract that sweater by itself, and yeah, use it by itself on a flat lay of concrete. And I do this a lot, basically taking, oh dude, look at that, sick.
Oh my God.
There you go. So I use this all the time to create more elevated mock-ups and designs and styles. Like that's a cool social post already, right? Where we could maybe take this, convert it to an image. Let's grab. Let's do this kind of quickly. Grab this, bring this over here. Right click, bring it to the top, and maybe we're gonna do a social post saying
giveaway or something.
Merch. Sure. New merch. We'll expand this out, make it a little bit smaller. And let's say, bring this down here. Giveaway. Yeah, and then maybe we want to have like some subtext really small. Tag a friend. And then yeah, we could get more granular and like you could put in all of your details for like how you would actually run this giveaway on on Instagram or whatever you would like. But yeah, maybe we're gonna do a new merch. Maybe like this. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit nicer. Tag a friend, and then maybe you can have details like how long it's gonna be. And let's go about this. Whoopsie. This. There we go. And maybe we want to add this, maybe add a mock-up to this, and we're going to type in phone to see what it might look like as, I don't know, a Pinterest post maybe. Sure. Maybe not quite the right size. We'd have to resize this to be vertical. But let's see. Do we have an Instagram one? We probably do. But you get the idea. We can check out, like, let's see, social. No. Let's
Instagram?
see. Instagram. There we go. What would this do? Oh, cool. So you could actually do your whole grid here. That's kind of cool. Maybe we want to see what it would look like there. Ooh, this is cool.
Yeah, the different icons, the turquoise ones that are kind of like generated from the microphone and the coin, those look like story highlights to me, actually.
Oh, yeah, stories. That would be really, really cool. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I forgot. I know that now Instagram wants like 1350 by 1080, and this is obviously 1080 by 1080. And we've started updating the mockups to account for that longer size. But the idea is here is that you could check like what your post is going to look like before you go and post it on your social media, I guess.
Yeah, and
But
that's
this is just
helpful
a
because
fun way to check.
here I would be like, oh, okay, then I'll make the tag a friend like text larger or stuff like that. Like I
Right.
immediately
Yeah.
do.
And you can actually see like, okay, maybe I do want to like take this and like expand it and like make it longer. And so you can see it's updating. That's the cool thing about the mockups is that it's updating in live time, right? And it's creating, yeah, you can build out your post in live time, I guess is what I'm trying to say, before uploading it to your phone and being like, crap, that's the wrong size and format. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of different things you could do with connecting smart boards. I mean, you could just say, hey, create a smart board and be like, show me this on a phone mockup in Instagram.
And
Yeah.
here as
Anyway,
well, the one thing that I want to kind of emphasize, especially with mockups, is that the one thing that you shouldn't 100% rely on is the print area every single time. Just because like, hey, it like different products have different print areas, the way we talked about it, like with the design sizes. So when, let's say we look at the mock-up, not of the phone, but of, let's say, the t-shirt or the hat, that specific hat that you are featuring in that mock-up might not have as large of an area, right? So you would always want, especially if you're using it for like your store listings, or you're trying to show the most accurate picture of what the product is actually going to look like, make sure that you double check. You go into the product page, or you test it out with the design maker first in the Printful dashboard, and you're like, okay, this is the print area. This is about how big the design is actually going to be able to be on the product, and then you can generate your own stuff.
right.
Yeah,
100%.
there's a couple of questions here, but the one that I actually wanted to ask right now, because I've also been thinking about it and I've been curious. What kind of hoodie are you wearing? What is that
What kind
hoodie? Yeah.
So this is my brother's brand that he only does like kind of exclusive drops. But this, you want to know the brand of the hoodie? The
I don't
brand
know.
is
Someone's asking what kind of hoodie is that?
Yeah, the brand is independent, which to my knowledge is not available in print on demand products. We had to like custom order this one, but this is like one of the merch drops for OT Studio, which is my brother's side kind of business project. He does like drops occasionally, so there's like a limited run, and this was one of them. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite hoodies. I actually talked to somebody at Printful about seeing if they could get this hoodie, because I love it because there's no strings, and it's just, the hood is like, look how big this hood is. Like, it's just so nice. Like when I'm like dialing in to like do some work like this, where I'm just like have my headphones in and I just like pull the hoodie down. This is like my get work done hoodie, and it's just so like the fit is so nice. Anyway, I could talk about it forever because it's like my favorite one, but. Yeah, we got into we actually cataloged this on Kittl. We like kind of told the whole story of how we like custom ordered stuff and went to a screen printer and all that stuff. But yeah, it's independent.
Yeah, there's
Is the brand of the hoodie.
yeah, there's actually a couple of questions that I want to just kind of, because they're fairly like general and not specific about specific steps, but they are important to cover, I think.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of them. So one is, I assume the templates are licensed to be used commercially, from Christopher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so templates, great question. We try to make the templates licensing very easy. The templates are there for you to use, okay? There's no weird, this can only be used for this thing, or this can only be used for merch. If you find a t-shirt design and you like the elements in it, or you like the way a type looks and you want to use that for a sticker or a logo or whatever, or if you want to use it, I guess in this case would be for a client, 100%. They are commission, commercial, all of that good stuff. There's some obviously limitation to the free plan, and you can see these little crowns, which is a very common kind of gated feature for many of these tools is you're going to see some premium assets and premium templates, which are going to be locked behind a paywall, so it'd be difficult for you to use them. But yes, personal, commercial, commission. I would advocate, it's really kind of hard for me to talk about it from a free standpoint. You can go, we'll link our licensing page for you to go like kind of see the play-by-play. In my personal opinion, it's difficult to really get the sizing and stuff you would need on the free plan or the specific vectors. So when you have a pro or expert account, you're pretty much good to go. There's, like I said, there's no like, this one can only be used for merch or this one can only be used for this. We do detail this in the licensing page, so that'd probably be a little bit easier. I have a video on this on the Kittl YouTube channel where I think I talk about it for 30 minutes. We can also link that as opposed to boring you now, but we try to make it very simple. And that licensing page has a do not do and do. Yes
very
and no.
important. Yeah.
Yes and no. Yeah.
And speaking of plans, actually, someone was asking also, how much does it cost to use Flows?
Great question. I apologize for not mentioning that earlier. So we use a tokens system. So you see down here in the bottom left, we have tokens here. And I mean, I have a lot because this is
Because
our,
you're you,
internal account. But you can see there's always a way to get more tokens. But when I'm talking about tokens, basically all of the different models are going to use a different amount because they all cost different amounts, and we're not pulling any stunts. You can see the exact models that we integrate into Kittl. We're just integrating the model. Okay. We're not trying to say that it's our, that it's ours. If it's ChatGPT, it's ChatGPT. If it's Flux, it's Flux. If it's Seedream 4, that's one of our most recent ones. You can see exactly what they cost right here. Tokens are just a lot easier way for us to kind of pay the models that we're using them based into whatever your subscription price is. Obviously, you get a certain amount of tokens on the pro plan. You get a certain amount of tokens on the expert plan. And then as I mentioned down here, if you click get more tokens, it won't work for me because this is like our account. But like if you click more tokens, it's going to pop up and it's basically going to say, how many do you want? Do you want 1,000? Do you want 5,000? Do you want whatever? And tokens renew on your subscription day. So if you have 4,000, and you use them, you're going to get more the next month. Very similar to akin to any other AI model, basically, that you would use. So that's how you can see. You can see here, there's a bunch of different tokens. And then very similarly, if I go to a smart board, click the smart board, you can see over here, Nana Banana takes 10. The HD version of ChatGPT takes 42, and then the lesser version of ChatGPT takes 14, and Seedream takes 10. So Nana Banana and Seedream are incredibly versatile and fast, and only cost 10, which is very, very good. So hopefully that answers the question. It's all around this token system. We don't add more cost to your subscription unless you go down here and buy it, and it's basically like a one-time top-up. Okay, there you go. You have those tokens, and they never expire kind of deal.
And to be fair, like as someone who, when I was playing around with Flows and kind of like figuring it out for the very first time, I did not find that I like very quickly ran out of tokens on a free plan. Like if you actually, like it didn't feel like it was just super limiting or something. And especially because I was trying to figure out like, here are all of the use cases that I could come up with. Let me try them. Let me just like test it out and see if it works and see how it works. Does it feel intuitive? Stuff like that. At no point was I like, I'm running low on tokens to try this thing or that thing. Like it's really not it. I feel like something that comes up as a feeling for people very often when they see like a paid plan of any kind. They're like, that means that the free plan sucks. And that does not necessarily happen. It's just that like you got to pay the models, right, to use them.
I see. Yeah. We do our best to give you a lot of really cool features in the free plan, like the pen tool, and we do provide you a certain amount of tokens in the free plan for you to get in and test the waters. I mean, that's if I'm being completely honest, that's really what a free plan is for. The free plan is not really for you to create a full-scale merchandising shop. I think you're going to need pro or expert account, features to do that, but I think you can get an idea for what you can do. You can test the waters, figure out if Kittl's a good fit for you in the free plan. I mean, there's the models that you can use, you can use flows, you can use all our vector editing, amazing fonts, all in the free plan to really kind of build out and see like, okay, I can get used to this. This is cool. And then, yeah, you decide if you want to move up to a paid plan. If you don't need it, you can always go back down, come back at any point. We also run challenges and things like that to earn more tokens that will allow you to create more boards and things like that. So we do our best to give you a lot of options to really test the waters, and or you can just check out the 1,000 videos on YouTube to be like, oh, that's cool. That's exactly what I want to do. Because if you guys are anything like me, that's usually my first approach before I go and subscribe to anything is I probably watch like 15 to 20 videos on Squarespace versus Wix or whatever it is that you may be doing. I watch tons of videos to find the one where I'm like, that's the feature. That's what I wanted to do. Kittl has it. Great. That's good. That's kind of how I go about it.
Yeah, same. Because it's very often something that I remember being an issue for me is that there are a lot of, I guess, subscriptions that don't tell you what you get for the money that you pay, essentially. And you kind of have to be like, okay, I hope if I pay the money, it's going to work. But it is helpful to know exactly. And this is where I think the little crown icons on a bunch of like more specific features come into play, where you're testing it out, you're seeing how it works for yourself in the free plan, and then you see like, okay, there are these things and these things that I know are possible, but they are only then available with the other plans, which is just like nice and transparent and helpful.
Yeah, and we have that detailed. We can link the plans, or excuse me, the pricing, the plans page here, and kind of like what you're saying there. We have like, what's included, and obviously they stack. So if you have the expert plan, obviously you get everything that's in the pro plan, but more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as you scroll down on the page, you can start comparing with this very robust. We worked a long time on this, and I guess not a lot of people know that this exists. But we really worked on this robust features kind of table database thing here that tells you exactly what you're going to get. A lot of people, for example, with AI, worry about a private mode. Okay, yes, on the pro and expert and business, you can anything you generate is private. It doesn't go into the feed for everybody else to see. It shows you. I mean, there's just so you can see right here, personal, commercial. You got this is very robust. And we even have a little bit of a little play-by-play with some other tools that show what we have versus them. But yeah, this is probably your first line of defense to go to and see what you might need, which plan you might need. Obviously, we have a little bit different pricing for monthly than yearly. Yearly is, going to be better because you're signing up for a year, so you get better pricing. But I've seen some creators do a Kittl analysis with other tools. That's cool. You could watch those, see what you think is best. But yeah, we try to just be. The thing is, if we packed so much information into these, you would get tired really fast and be like, I don't exactly know what I'm looking at, which is why we created this big mega tank database if you really want to go into it and check out what's in there. But yeah, this is just kind of like a quick play-by-play.
Yeah. And then there is just like one more last question that I really want to quickly take, because this is just like, I don't know, you might not have an answer for this, but if you do, I think it would be very cool. Cool. Have you seen any mind-blowing flow setups from users or something that someone has created using flows that has been super impressive?
100%. I think we were actually just looking at some of those recently. We actually hosted a challenge with a kind of design conference where the challenge was using Kittl Flows to come up with a full brand concept. And there was some absolutely incredible work based around a like soda pop brand, and they kind of used a template, started editing it, and then from there it was just flows, and they were creating like the can mockup and merchandise and brand elements and extracting elements to use in different ways. That's one, and we're actually going to be doing a podcast with that winner soon, where we'll kind of go into detail on how they how they did that. So you can check that out. We were actually looking at a couple the other day as well that used some for book layout, like coloring book was one, and then like an editorial layout was another, where they kind of used a template first and crafted it, changed the text, and then from there used Kittl Flows to ideate and see what a page layout would be like. Then obviously tons of mock-ups. The kid's coloring book was like show top-down shot of a kid holding the book with this page on it, so you could actually see what it looked like in real life before you printed it. And then there's a few more that I haven't seen yet that we are doing we're kind of compiling this very question into a recap, which we'll be doing in December, where we're going to take all of this really, really cool user-generated work and with their permission show how they've been utilizing Kittl Flows. So it's a really, really good question to see how other people have been using it. I would say the challenges are probably the easiest way to see that for us, because we were actually prompting them to use Kittl Flows. But that kind of content is coming up because there's some really cool stuff that I did not expect people to use with Kittl Flows.
Is that coming to the YouTube channel?
Yeah, in December. Yeah.
Do you want to mention to the people in the audience where they can find you?
Yes. So everywhere, pretty much every social is at Kittl Design, at Kittl Design. So that's what you'll find on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere is at Kittl Design. And I'm going to be pretty much always on YouTube. Weekly, you'll find me, my brother Graham, and our social media manager, Duda. And we're all doing different tutorials, style deep dives. We're showing a ton of Kittl Flows. I'm putting together a Kittl Flows masterclass right now because, and that everybody that's watching gets an advanced knowledge of this, we're actually moving where the prompt box is. It's going to be really exciting. Starting on Wednesday, we're rolling out a really cool feature where we're integrating the prompt box for Kittl Flows that's not so distracting over to the side. So definitely be watching for the video for that, because I'm going to do a full Flows masterclass. Some of building out what we did here, but also just what is a smartboard? How do I even start it? So that'll be on YouTube again at Kittl Design. Definitely follow us on social. Duda does a great job like showing tons of stuff on the socials as well.
Can confirm is very good.
Yeah.
I spent so much time watching, especially because you and I have relatively similar jobs, which is kind of exist on YouTube and do our best to inform the audience. So I highly recommend you guys go onto at Kittl Design on YouTube and go watch some really great content. But we are going to wrap up here. We got through quite a few questions and a very useful kind of demo of all the little hidden things and maybe not so hidden things that people can do. I think this has been great. I've learned a lot personally. I hope you guys have enjoyed as well. And yes, there will be a replay after this, so don't you worry if you just tuned in and oh no, it's over. So make sure to subscribe. It's going to be up in a bit and you can go and check it out later. So thank you so much, Drew, for joining.
Sure thing. Thank you for having me.
Everyone for watching. Bye-bye, you guys.
Bye.